This morning, the Supreme Court of the United States made a monumentally horrible decision. They are out of control, and I want to show you how. Earlier this year, ICE was allowed to do something in the Los Angeles area called roving, R-O-V-I-N-G. And in roving, they would drive about, get in their car, and just go about. And they were allowed to stop someone based on one of three things. And understand these ICE agents are masked. For the most part, they don't have an ID on. They have some sort of a militaristic-looking uniform, but it's not really distinct. And it's certainly not uniform among uniforms. They don't all look alike. And so they would stop people based on one of three things. One, the language they were speaking. Two, their ethnicity. Three, the job at which they were working or going to work or coming from work. What I just said is an absolutely despicable violation of our basic search and seizure rights that are guaranteed to us in the Fourth Amendment. This is sacrosanct to our freedom in this country. To be able to stop someone based on the language they're speaking, their ethnicity, the job they're working at. This is repulsive. I need to get out my thesaurus and just read off every word that follows that. It's repugnant, it's disgusting, and it's absolutely a violation of our constitutional rights guaranteed to us in the Fourth Amendment. If you cannot meet the bar of probable cause, if you cannot meet the very basic laws of search and seizure, then you must leave a person alone. So I want you to think about this for a minute. Let's suppose you speak Spanish. And let's suppose you're walking down the street with your friends and you're conversing in Spanish. That's maybe, you know what? There doesn't need to be a reason. I was starting to come up with a reason. There doesn't need to be a reason. If you want to speak Spanish, dang it, you can speak Spanish. And let's suppose you're walking down the street speaking Spanish and ICE agents drive by based on you speaking Spanish. They can absolutely bring all of hell down on you. And let me just stop right here and tell you that if you say, well, you know, I've got my ID or I'm a U.S. citizen, I have nothing to worry about, all my papers are in order. Understand this. This year, since the Trump administration came in office, over 200 U.S. citizens, I'm not talking about people that had legal status only, I'm talking about U.S. citizens have been deported this year since the Trump administration took over. 200 people. Now, how many have been stopped? How many have been detained? There's no number. We have no idea, and there is no way to find out the number because it is innumerable. And so just because you are a U.S. citizen with your papers in order, it becomes dangerous to walk down the street speaking Spanish. Think of that. In the United States of America, where we are free. And so, the concept of freedom in America no longer includes walking down the street speaking Spanish. Doing that in Los Angeles could bring all of hell down on you. And so this was taken to district court, and a federal judge there said, of course not. No, this is out. That cannot be done. Roving is done. You cannot stop people based on their ethnicity, based on the language that they're speaking, or based on where they're working. You can't do that. The Trump administration took it to the Supreme Trump Court of the United States. I'm sorry, but that's what it is becoming. Did you not hear after the congressional speech March 4th? Did you not hear the hot mic catch Donald Trump walking by Chief Justice John Roberts and saying, "Hey, thank you. Appreciate what you did." Oh my God. There is not... You can try to excuse that away in a million different ways. None of the million work. This is a Trump court. It's in Trump's pocket. And this is a problem. So the justice system. So this is supposed to be the one area that remains pure, that remains clean, that remains neutral, that gives us a pure and true sense of justice. This is supposed to be the area where, yes, while they play politics, while they do this, while they do the redistricting things, and while they do all of this kind of, political, on the political playground, we still have a court that is straight from God. That's kind of the way I've always perceived it, because it's the court that gives us the truth, that goes back to the rule book, to the Constitution, where it is clearly defined as, yes, you can do this, and no, you can't do this. But somehow this morning, the Supreme Trump Court of the United States ruled that roving could be reinstated. God help us. This is unconscionable. I did not read the entire decision, but I did read through some of it, and I read some excerpts that were provided on both the side that dissented and the side that made the decision in favor of. I read some of it, and I hesitate to say this about judges, about attorneys. I have great respect for the attorney field. I know for the most part they're joked about, and they're all crooks and they're all this or that. And a lot of jokes are told about lawyers. I have a great respect for attorneys. I always have. And so I hesitate to say this about the highest attorneys that we have in the United States, which is the Supreme Court, which has become the Supreme Trump Court. But reading the decision, it's a joke. It's an absolute cartoon show. The reasons they give for taking the Fourth Amendment and peeing on it, I mean, it's just absolutely insane. The search and probable cause has been with us for forever, and we've just taken it and just thrown it out the window. Something has to be done about this court. Again, go through and just read some of the excerpts. If you're going to read the entire ruling, it's going to take you some hours. But just read some of the excerpts. It's shocking. So how do we fix this? Obviously, Election Day. But I think there's something further past that has to be done in this country. And I want to tell you my idea. And I'll tell you, I'm not the only one that has this idea. There are a lot of us out here yelling for this. And I'm going to tell you the idea. Here is what I believe is the solution. And this is, I'll admit, this is a bit of a Starbucks coffee shop conversation solution. But, some of those solutions end up actually working. I know so far what hasn't worked. And what hasn't worked is a 9-person Supreme Court. It's too small. A lot of people suggested and really pushed President Biden to pack the court, to extend it, and to get an unlimited number of Democrats on there and get a lot of things overturned that had been done by the court. I don't know that that's a good idea. And it's not certain that he would have been able to do this. It's not certain that he had a majority in the Senate. In the U.S. House of Representatives, he could have gotten this through. But in the Senate, there were some senators that were not completely... They weren't completely in the Democratic caucus. Joe Manchin being the main one from West Virginia. And so he never did it. And plus it was against his principles. He didn't really believe in packing the court. Because if a Democrat could pack the court, then a Republican could pack the court. And right now we have a 9-person court that is too small and it needs to be extended. So how do we do it without court packing? And by court packing, what I mean is we pass a law in the U.S. House of Representatives, in the U.S. Senate, signed by the president, and you can name however many more people to the Supreme Court. Make it 21 people, which means we can add 12 to the court. Well, the sitting president is going to try his best to push through 12 from his party. That's not good for either side. And yes, I'd love to see a court of 25 and have all 25 Democrats, but that's not what we're based on. That's not how we're built as a nation. Our adversarial form of government tells us that we need input from both sides and then from there make a balanced decision. And I think a balanced court is the solution, and one that is more than 9 people. Let me just tell you this. We've had 9 people on the court since 1869. Do the math. That's 156 years. Wouldn't we have expanded this sometime in 156 years? Secondly, there were 31 million people living in the United States when the court was expanded to 9. There were 37 states. Folks, that's not who we are anymore. Folks. President Biden said folks all the time. I just said folks. Folks! That's not how this should work. We need more people. Because more justices would guarantee us... sorry, I shouldn't use the word guarantee. It would help us guarantee that we not get a rogue court that becomes something like we have a one-sided Supreme Trump Court of the United States. Because that's what it is. Here's my idea. Expand the court. Expand it to 25. Let me tell you what some other nations have. Nations that are a micro size of what we are. England has 12 on their Supreme Court. Japan has 15. Germany has 16. Switzerland has 30. Sweden has 16. Italy, ready for this? They have 350. And then they divide up the court according to specialties. So their Supreme Court has a specialty group on crime, a specialty group on civil, and within civil, banking, investing, all kinds. It's divided up into many different things so that specialists have a place on the court and they only decide this. That's Italy, 350 people. Spain has 70, Finland has 18, the United States has 9. And we are 10, 12 times the size of some of these nations. So number 1, we need more. And number 2, we need it to be balanced. And so what I would suggest, here's my crazy idea. Tell me what you think. In the comment section, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We have whatever number. Let's say 15. Let's say 17, 21, 25. Let's just throw 25 out there. We have a court of 25 people. Now we go from 9 minds to 25 minds. And there are a lot of great legal minds in this country. I've had the privilege through the years with a number of people in pastoral work. I've gone to court with a lot of people, and I've watched a lot of attorneys. I've watched a lot of judges. I've watched, honestly, some judges that were horrifyingly awful, that were they were a shame to the bench. And I've watched others that were absolutely brilliant. There are some brilliant legal minds in this country, and not just judges, some attorneys. I've watched a few attorneys that are just out of this world capable of making wise, balanced decisions. So let's say we expand to 25. And then let's make it a 13-12 division. There are always 13 of the sitting president's party and 12 of the opposing side. Always. And if a justice dies or resigns, leaves the court for whatever reason, then we replace that person with that party to keep the court balanced at 13-12. I believe at 13-12 it would be impossible to get some of the decisions that we've seen in the last 6-7 years, and they are terrible. Some of these decisions are beyond any kind of legal thought. I've had some conversations with some legal minds and people that are in the business, that know what they're doing. And yes, I understand that everybody has their opinion, and we all have our biases and the way that we would like to see things. But just from a purely legal standpoint, some of the decisions that have been made are awful. And this one, in particular, shows that there's no limit. There is no limit to the one-sidedness this court is willing to go to. They must be stopped. And it's time for us to expand the court. If you like this video, if you like anything that I've said here or in the past, please like it and subscribe. And tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, either on Facebook where this is posted, or preferably on the YouTube area itself. Like and subscribe, comment, want to hear what you think. Let's grow this court and let's make it balanced. We can do this.